All right, so welcome. My name is Mary Eleanor Power, and I am the Director of Marketing Communications for the Faculty of Open Learning and Career Development at Dalhousie University. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that Dalhousie University is in the land of Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq. We are all treaty people. And so I would like to begin by welcoming our two co-hosts, Chris Fevens and Dr. Darren Downing, who will be walking you through what you need to know about recognition of prior learning, or RPL, as well as the microcredential program that we have at Dalhousie. So I'll begin by just offering a little bit of background on our two co-hosts. And so Chris has believed in the power of education to create change since beginning his career over 15 years ago in domestic and international education, and has a strong background in leadership, administration, and instruction. Chris possesses a strong understanding about adult teaching principles, team management, international marketing, and recruitment for ESL and higher education institutions, and has been involved in program proposal writing and instructional design. Chris has a Master's of Education from the University of British Columbia in Educational Leadership and Administration, and a BEd and BA from the University of New Brunswick. Chris now lives in Halifax with his wife, Nasil, and son, Noah. And then I'll welcome Darren. And so Dr. Downing has authored Dalhousie's white paper on microcredentialing and is the project manager for Dalhousie's microcredential pilot project. Darren has an MA in TESOL Linguistics from California State University of Fresno and an ED in education from the University of Calgary. He's interested in cross-cultural communication, and Darren's doctoral work examined how communication and decisions are conducted in a massive multicultural pilot program in the Middle East. Darren has 20 years of experience as an instructor and administrator and has worked in Uzbekistan, California, the UAE, and Canada. He now lives in beautiful Cape Breton with his wife, Joy, and their twin 5-year-old boys, Malcolm and Knox. So welcome, both of you. Thanks so much for co-hosting today's webinar. And thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. And I will pass it over to you. But before I do that, just one final housekeeping note. If you have any questions, please add them in the chat, and we will respond to them at the end of the webinar. We will reserve some time. So please add in your questions and we'll make sure to address them at the end. And now over to you, Chris, to kick us off.
Thank you for the kind introduction there, Mary Eleanor. I'm just going to share my screen here and bring up our PowerPoint for the day, and let me begin. So as Mary Eleanor has told you, my name is Chris Fevens, and I am the project manager for our recognition of prior learning program in the Faculty of Open Learning and Career Development. So I'm very excited to tell you a little bit about RPL today, and hopefully to hear back from several of you after this webinar, because this is my passion right now. So those of you who are not familiar with recognition of prior learning, or RPL, as I'll refer to it probably for the rest of this webinar, this is a process that can award learners advanced standing in one of our academic credentials by assessing and recognizing the prior learning that they bring from their life experience, work experience, volunteer experience, many different places. And so we've developed this RPL program in the Faculty of Open Learning and Career Development for a number of reasons. Number one, we want to increase access by eliminating some of the barriers that learners often encounter when they're deciding whether or not to enroll in further studies at a place like Dalhousie. And by doing so, we hope that once we open those doors and people have they get their foot in the door here with us at the Faculty of Open Learning and Career Development, that it might help to facilitate a desire to continue learning throughout their lifetime. We also wanted to create this program to really validate the learning that takes place outside of the classroom. Here at Dalhousie, we realized that not all learning obviously not all learning that happens in a classroom while you're listening to an instructor professor. In fact, most of the learning, we think, it happens throughout our life, throughout our work experience, our family life, all different types of experiences that we have. And we want to basically tell our community that we think this is really valuable, and we want to help you use this experience and this learning to apply towards one of our academic credentials here in the Faculty of Open Learning and Career Development. We also think that this program has a chance to alleviate some of the skills shortages here in Nova Scotia by giving more people the chance to upskill. And we also feel that this program has the potential to assist newcomers who are coming to Nova Scotia, who are bringing a wealth of foreign credentials and experience, but often have trouble getting those recognized when they come here. The benefits of this program for students, probably the most significant benefit is that this program has the potential to cut down on the expenses and time required to complete an academic credential. So, for example, at a place like the Faculty of Open Learning and Career Development, we have many certificate programs. Some of them are 4, 5, or 6 courses long. So if you apply to this process, we will take a look at your prior learning, and if your prior learning matches the learning outcomes and the topics and things like that that are covered in our courses, we can give you credit for that. So instead of having to take the full 6 courses, for example, maybe you only have to take 4 of those because your prior learning has already given you the skills and knowledge that are covered in those other 2 courses, which obviously would help to cut down on time and expenses. Another barrier that we hope this eliminates is this idea of having to duplicate something that you already know. If you are someone who wants to take a certificate with us, for example, and you need, again, 6 courses, but you already know 2 of those from your work experience, you shouldn't have to retake those again. And for some people, that is a barrier. They just don't have the time and money to waste on something that they already know. So this helps to avoid that problem from happening. As I mentioned in the last slide, we hope that this encourages people to pursue education, not just their first certificate, but maybe a lifelong, learning experience. This validates the learning that people get from outside of a formal classroom environment. And we also feel that this program has the potential to increase the self-esteem and confidence that people sometimes need when deciding to study in higher education again. We understand that if you haven't been in school for 15, 20, 25 years, it can be very intimidating to walk into a building like this one that I'm in today and go into a classroom. But by assessing and recognizing the value of your prior learning and telling you basically that your learning is equal to what other people have studied in our classrooms, we hope that will help you feel more comfortable, more confident as you enter your studies with us here at Dalhousie University. Finally, the process of applying to RPL, the application, it really requires people to do a bit of self-reflection. Not just about their strengths and what they already know, but it can also help you to identify maybe some weaknesses, maybe some things you need to learn more about, which can really help to guide your education experience going forward. Who applies for RPL? These are typically older learners who are coming with a wealth of learning from years of experience, whether it be work or volunteer or just life experience itself. We also have a lot of adult learners who have taken prior coursework from another professional training provider, and they want to have that assessed and recognized for advanced standing here at Dalhousie's Faculty of Open Learning and Career Development. What do students receive? Number 1, advanced standing. Again, this is basically us giving you credit for what you already know. So it's giving you, part of a certificate, so you don't have to take the whole certificate yourself. And you can receive up to 50% of one of our certificates here. You can also gain program admission. So in our faculty, we have advanced certificates, And sometimes you need to have taken a prerequisite course, or you need a certain amount of experience or some sort of expertise to get into these advanced certificates. Through this process of RPL, we can help you with that process, so you don't have to take those prerequisite courses, or you don't have to have the experience exactly that like we are looking for. Instead, you can just be given admission into these programs based on your prior learning. And along the same lines, course exemptions. So as I mentioned, some of our advanced courses, you do need to take a prerequisite certificate, but if you've already got those skills and knowledge from your prior learning, you can be exempt from having to take that prerequisite certificate. There are two types of learning that we assess in RPL, and as a result, there's two different applications that students will complete depending on which type of prior learning they want us to assess. One of those recognizes prior certified learning, and the other recognizes prior experiential learning. Prior certified learning is learning that takes place through coursework from a professional training advisor or provider. So the learning is very much intentional. A learner would take these programs with the goal of learning a new skill or knowledge to help them. And this could include, some of these examples here, or examples that aren't on here as well, like a certificate in trade apprenticeship or military training, or even, if you've taken other courses with us here at the Faculty of Open Learning and Career Development, or other colleges of continuing studies or education. The other type of learning that we assess is experiential learning. And this is definitely a more holistic look at someone's prior learning from not just what they've studied in a formal setting, but in their life, in their volunteer work, in their work experience, things like that. There's two types of learning that fall within this category. Non-formal learning, so this is learning that does take place within some sort of organization, but it's not a college or university. So that could include your workplace, maybe you're a member of a committee, sports teams, things like that. The other type of learning that falls in this category is informal learning, and that's basically just learning that we get from living life, things that we learn from our family and friends, things that we learn from raising a family, like creating a family budget, learning how to use new technology, maybe things that we study on our own through places like Coursera or edX or LinkedIn Learning, these type of things. So you can present this type of learning to us, and we will look at this. We will try to assess and recognize this to provide you with as much benefit as possible. How do you apply for RPL? The number one thing that we suggest you do is you speak to the RPL manager, which is me, before beginning your application. And I can help you, with your education goals, choosing certificates that probably will be most appropriate for you. I can help direct you to the appropriate type of application. As I mentioned, we have two different types of application. I can also help you to prepare the evidence that you're going to need to present to demonstrate your prior learning and how it's equal to our courses here at Dalhousie. Second thing, you need to create a Destiny One account to create an application, and also to register for certificates and courses here in our faculty. It's very easy to do, it takes a couple minutes, not difficult at all. You need to choose the appropriate RPL application and then complete that, which includes submitting the required documents. And again, I can help you with those. And then there's a $175 assessment fee for each application. And with each application, again, you can apply for more than just one course to get credit for. You can apply for up to 50% of a certificate. Finally, how do we assess your prior learning? First and foremost, it's very important to note that only subject matter experts assess your application. So those could be, instructors, professors, people that have many years of experience within the field or that industry. Could be our program directors who have, extensive knowledge of the content within our program areas. And when subject matter experts look at your application, they're trying to see how closely your prior learning matches up with the topic, skills, and knowledge in our courses. And if we feel that they're equivalent or better, that's when we can award advanced standing. That's when we can speed up the process or the amount of time that it takes to get one of our credentials here in our faculty. In this process, you may actually be asked to provide more information, or you might also be asked to complete an alternative assessment to demonstrate your knowledge. And our overall aim is to get your assessment completed, which includes communicating the results to you within 4 weeks. So this is a very quick rundown of our recognition of prior learning program. There's so much I could probably tell you about. If you do have any questions or anything else you're wondering about, you can always contact me. My email address and phone number and those things will be shared after this webinar. You can also speak to Darren and I after this webinar about any questions. There should be a brief question answer period. I thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope that I hear back from you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Okay, let me share my screen. My PowerPoint here. All right. So I'm going to cover micro-credentials. My name is Darren Downing, and I am the micro-credential coordinator here at Dalhousie. So you may have been hearing about micro-credentials recently, and I've seen it in political ads. I've been seeing it in a lot more places. And over the past year, micro-credentials have become very popular. But still, a lot of people are not quite sure what a micro-credential is, how they work, what they do, or why you would want one. So I just want to kind of cover some of the main ideas of what a micro-credential is in this very brief presentation. So micro-credential, it is a recognition of the acquisition of one or more competencies that are valued by employers, described in plain language, validated by evidence, and represented by a digital badge. So that's our official definition of what a micro-credential is. Now, different places will have different definitions. There's not one universal definition of what a micro-credential is. So be aware of that. If you find a micro-credential at another institution, it could be very similar, or it could be a little bit different. So they often have kind of similar features, but sometimes they are implemented in different ways. So for us, kind of the key idea is that it is a digital badge that represents a skill or a competency that an employer wants. So a Dalhousie micro-credential should be adding value to your education. It does not replace anything. It does not replace any certificates or any degrees that you would earn. But while you are in a degree or certificate program, you will complete courses, and those courses may contain micro-credentials. Then you can pass the course and earn a micro-credential while you pass the course. You could also pass the course and not earn the micro-credential. It's also possible to earn the micro-credential but fail the course because it's just a small component of a skill within a larger course. So if you can demonstrate that you can do that skill, you earn the micro-credential. The skills that we decide there on what skills we attach a micro-credential to, we decide on those by collaborating with employers. What is it that they're looking for when they want to hire somebody? What skills do they want to know that that person has? That's why these are valuable, because you can put these on your resumes, you can put these on your LinkedIn profiles, and you can prove that you have demonstrated these skills at Dalhousie and that you have what they're looking for. So they are skills that are in demand by employers. And also the assessment that is used is a assessment where you have to actually demonstrate the skill. It's not a test as far as multiple choice or anything like that. You actually have to demonstrate that you can do what that micro-credential says you can do. So the assessment is validated by the industry, by the potential employers. They look at the assessment, they say, yes, we would take that assessment. We agree with it. If somebody can successfully do that, it proves that they have that skill. So it is evidence-based. The evidence can be embedded within the micro-credential to show what you've done. and we link them to competencies or skills. So the benefits of a microcredential, the first one is job opportunities. If you do a survey of students, what do you want from university? Why are you going to university? The number one answer is to improve my job prospects, money, to get money, earn money, get better jobs. It's by far the number one answer. And it's also not necessarily the answer that when you ask leaders at a university, they won't always say, oh, we provide access to better jobs. Oftentimes universities in the past have looked at, we create whole students. We are part of the community, and it's not always been as focused on jobs. So for microcredentials, it's much more focused on those skills and proving you have the skills to improve your job prospects. Microcredentials give you immediate value. Okay, so investing in education will take a lot of time, and it takes money, and not everybody will be able to complete a full degree or certificate once they have started it. With microcredentials, you are at least earning certificates and degrees. You are earning some value while you are in those certificate and degree programs. So it gives you that value as you're going through a program. You don't always know what's going to happen in your life, in the world, right? There may be a death in the family and you'll have to stop your education. Yeah, there may be a new child may come along. There could be a global pandemic. You don't know. So sometimes you will have to stop your education and go straight into the labor force. With microcredentials and programs that allow you to earn microcredentials as you're going through them, if that happens, you still get that value, you still get some value from that program. And you can always return to the program at a later time and continue. So immediate value is a very important, I think, benefit of microcredentials, and one of the things that people are very excited about when they implement microcredentials into institutions. The third kind of major benefit to microcredentials is that they really help communicate the skills that you have. So not only do they show it, they kind of help define these isolated skills that employers are looking for and help you communicate those to potential employers. So it really is focused on what employers are looking for and helping you isolate them, prove that you have them, and communicate those. Additional benefits are that they are accessible and affordable. So if a course has a microcredential, you're not paying more for that course with the microcredential in it. It's just an added value. You're just getting a little bit more value for what you're already investing into that educational experience. You have an ability to create unique and targeted educational portfolios. So you can create kind of a patchwork of microcredentials of various skills that can create very unique educational backgrounds that you can prove, right? A lot of jobs these days don't want just kind of one cookie cutter set of skills. They want a little bit of web development. They want a little bit of sociology. They want a little bit over here. They want some presentation skills. They want some communication skills. They want some technical skills. They want some competencies in business. They want some, right? So you have kind of this weird patchwork of abilities that a lot of places are looking to hire from, and microcredentials allow you to gather those and show that you have these kind of various variety of skills that they're looking for. Faster time to upskilling. So again, you get the microcredential immediately, even though you have not completed your certificate, your degree. You may be able to use that microcredential as evidence that, one, you have certain skills that will allow you to upskill, that will allow you to get a better job, and as evidence that you are in the process of improving your skills sets. They're digitally portable, so they use digital badges and allows you to take those in different ways and put them on LinkedIn, put them on your email, put them on your digital resumes. They're flexible. They have their evidence of in-demand skills, as we've talked about. They're connected with potential employers. So these potential employers are helping create these micro-credentials. So when they see a micro-credential that they helped create, you've already got kind of a connection with that employer. And finally, they give you a little bit of validation early on that you belong at Dalhousie, that you belong in these courses. You have the skills, you could demonstrate them. So they give you early validation that you are where you belong. So let's quickly go over, I know we're almost out of time, the nuts and bolts, so badges, metadata, and uses. So digital badges, this is how we show the micro-credential. A digital badge is basically just a digital version of a certificate or diploma. So traditionally it's in paper. Now, for micro-credentials, they're in digital badges. You can go to Credly and you can see all of the, if you Google Dalhousie digital badges or Dalhousie Credly, you will get all of the Dalhousie current micro-credentials, and we're adding more. So over the next year, you're going to see a lot more in micro-credentials, a bigger variety. In those digital badges, you have metadata. That gives you the issuer, the name, the criteria, the tags, the recipient, the evidence, and the validation. All of this is encoded and is secure, so they can't be copied, they can't be altered. They can be validated. So if you go to if you see somebody with a micro-credential from us, you can click on it. It'll take you to the Credly site, you hit validate, and it will tell you, yes, this micro-credential was earned by this person at this time for these skills. Okay, so there is the metadata display, how it shows it on the Credly site. So if you click on that micro-credential, that's what you will see. And finally, the uses of a micro-credential: email footers, your social network, LinkedIn profiles, your personal web pages, and your resumes. They can all accept those digital micro-credentials, and on any of those, somebody can click on them and be taken to the Credly page. So I've very quickly gone through micro-credentials. We're at 12:29. That gives you a brief overview of what micro-credentials are, how they work, what are the benefits. If you have any questions, you can email me at ddowning@dal.ca. And I will let go of this. Let's see, stop my share. There we go. And so were there any questions that we want to go over?
Thank you so much, Darren and Chris. I know a lot of information being delivered, or a lot of really helpful information. So I do want to address one question up front that was asked a few times, which is about accessing the information from the slides after the fact. So, so for those who were unable to join us or double booked or for whatever reason had to jump away before the presentation ended, we will be sending an email later today with a recording of the webinar. We can also look at possibly including the slides, but most certainly you'll have a recording of the webinar. That should be arriving in your inboxes before the end of the day. We do host all of our webinars, our past webinars, on our YouTube channel. And so that is the link that will be provided to you. So, so you can certainly refer back, share the video with colleagues, and already a nice response from Jackie. Thanks very much. They thank us for an informative session. That's fantastic. There was one question as well that was submitted, and it was about just email address. So Darren included his email, Chris his email, and then also the email that will be going out later today will have their contact information. One question, Chris, regarding assessing credentials. Can we have these meetings and assess our credentials while we are waiting for our permanent residency from abroad in order to gain time?
Yeah, I think, of course, yeah. I think you know, especially since we've moved a lot of our program here in the faculty to online programming, you know, we fully expect to have not just Canadian residents or, you know, even people in Nova Scotia taking our programming, but we might have students from, you know, all over the world. So I don't think it really matters where you are right now and what your residency status is. I'd be happy to have that talk with you about RPL.
That's great. Dwight just asked for your email address. So Chris, you included it there, rpl@dal.ca, and then Darren is ddowning@dal.ca. Hopefully everyone can see that in, actually, let me reshare it, Chris, because I think it was just shared with hosts and panelists. So this is the email address for Chris. And just want to make sure that everyone can see it. There we go. Hey, does anyone have any other questions for Chris or Darren? So Amber has a question. So these may count for credits to transfer while earning a degree? So is that, I believe that would be regarding, microcredentials?
I'm not sure if these are, if that's regarding microcredentials or RPL.
Or RPL.
They're not credits. These are standalone microcredentials that you earn while you are going through a course. So your credits will be attached to the course, not attached to the microcredential.
And if I can jump in there for a minute, I don't know if this question is for me or not either, but I just wanted to note out that, or make a note that currently RPL right now is just within the Faculty of Open Learning and Career Development. So it's not available for other degree programs at Dalhousie. It's our hope that once we run the RPL program here in our faculty, that other faculties will adopt it as well.
Great. Any other questions? Thanks, Amber. That's great. I like to pause because typing can be slow for some, so. Okay, well, it looks like you've answered all of the questions, Darren and Chris. But my healthy assumption is that there will be a number of people reaching out to you with some questions, I'm sure, that are more specific to their circumstances or what they're trying to adopt in their organization. So we will leave it there for now, but certainly reach out to Darren and Chris if you have any other questions. We will be sending out the email later today, as I mentioned already, with a recording of the webinar and places where you can find more information, and certainly reach out to both of them too. Thanks so much, Darren and Chris, for co-hosting today's webinar. Really appreciate your time. And thanks everyone, and have a wonderful day and stay safe.
Thank you.